Well, she's really got the bit between her teeth now, just after halfway. Linet Masai in this 10 kilometres in Manchester, trying to break properly. The Italian there behind her. And certainly Masai doesn't look like she's straining. She has such a long, raking stride that it's very, very deceptive. 15:47 at halfway was actually pretty quick. But Ejafini there in second place is hanging on rather frustratingly, almost rather stubbornly. That gap is taking a long time to grow. Well, there's no doubting the gaps aren't growing very fast at all as they passed halfway, but Masai, maybe from this point on, will begin to ease away from the rest of them. Ejafini certainly not as well known. She failed to finish the London Marathon back in April. There you can see 108, that is Geretic, Haile Gebrselassie, the Commonwealth champion, and indeed Yamauchi there, 102. The marathon run is beginning to struggle here, Stuart, as the pace has really picked up from halfway onwards.
Yes, indeed. Well, when you consider that Linet Masai is the 2009 world champion, she outkicked the Ethiopians after winding up the pace from 3,000 out, and she has that real talent of winding it up, and I do mean that. There's a subtle increase in pace which does all the damage, and you can see the sort of damage at 7 kilometres that she's done. Just 3 kilometres to go. Ejafini's hanging on, she really is, and also there, just looking down, that's Doris Tsegaye, the other Kenyan, the Commonwealth silver medalist at 10,000 metres in 2010. She looks to be hanging on there. And the race for the men still to emerge with Haile Gebrselassie, Kebede. It's really not changed too much. Abshero in third place, and the rest of them there as well. Stephen Kiprotich of Uganda is up in that group, and just looking down the list of competitors there, just trying to find number 68. That's Solomon of Eritrea in the orange strip. He's got a 68 on his vest, not considered to be one of the elite, but he's proving to be so at the moment at this stage of the race. Makau is there as well, as you can see, the marathon man. Surprising London marathon from Makau. He looked so strong, and all of a sudden he pulled out, he'd gone. But I watched him, as you did, Tim, in Berlin, break the world record and run so very, very quickly. Sub 2:4. He's a real talent, but as you say, hasn't been selected for the Kenyan team for the marathon.
Well, there's young Charlotte Purdue on her own. These are lonely kilometres clicking by now for the youngster, but she's working hard. She's got an awkward style, a little bit tight in the shoulders, always wears that headband, very easily spotted, whether it's road, track or cross country. But she needs to push hard here to try and keep the gap behind her and try and close those gaps in front of her. Difficult, a distance runner's lot, once they've been dropped and they're working absolutely flat out to concentrate on the job at hand. There's the tiptoeing feet of Linet Masai. She almost kisses the ground, doesn't she? She's so light on her feet. You feel as though a strong gust of wind would blow her over. And yet she's got the competitive temperament of a lioness quite clearly. And that gap now has grown behind her, Stuart.
Yeah, it has, and of course they've got another brother who we'll probably see running internationally shortly. I mean, he's starting to run, and of course she's the younger sister of the 10,000 metre runner Moses Masai. At 8 kilometres, 2,000 metres to go then for Linet Masai. She's proved herself in the past on the country and on the track and on the roads, of course. And we'll have a look at the split times there, Tim.
Yeah, 25:14 at 8 kilometres. That's 5 miles. That's good, solid running. Obviously, if it was a 10-mile race, she's moving at a pace just outside 50 minutes. Others, of course, their race is just getting underway.
Yes, it is, and their personal races. And look at this. Well, we said there were 40,000. It's going to take an awful long time for all of those athletes to get onto the roads. I call them athletes because they're making an attempt at becoming athletes by running today. The object over 10k is to start and run all the way if you can. And oh, look at this, it's a break-up. It's a break-up, and Haile Gebrselassie is away. Remember, it was in 2005 that he set his UK all-comers best of 27 minutes and 25. Lasted a couple of years till 2007 when Mika Kogo broke it at 27:10, and that's the fastest time today. Abshero, I should say, has linked on to him. Says he never ran well on the track. Despite clocking 13:12, he doesn't regard himself as a good track runner, that's for sure. but the marathon debut in Dubai this year at 2:04:23 has to be admired, and really he's the only one who's able to hang on to this pace. It really is.
They're quite fearless, this new generation of East African runners, and Abshero is a fine example. I mean, for him to have run 2:04 in his marathon debut, Stuart, is almost inconceivable. You look at Gebrselassie there in orange, who for my money is the greatest distance runner in history. There's no shadow of doubt about that now. You look at his record over the last 20 years and more, and yet Gebrselassie took a long time to get down to his world record of 2:03. Abshero has gone straight down there in one race.
Well, if anything, I think that's quite deceptive, that picture, because Masai is well ahead. There's an uphill stretch here in this course in the final stage. As you saw, we're well into the last 2,000 metres. Ejefini looks to be holding on quite well into second place there, and running quite well. Charlotte Purdue, I can't see, unless it's Charlotte hidden behind.
I think Purdue's just there in
there
fourth
she is,
place.
just coming around, just coming around the corner, yes.
Well, Ejefini, all credit to the Italian for working very hard. She made Masai fight for this lead, and in fact now, maybe she worked so hard that she's in danger of being caught by Tsegaye in the background by the looks of things. But Masai here, just bouncing up and down, looking nice and relaxed. Hasn't glanced round to my knowledge. I think she's just playing that patient game that a distance runner has to do, which is to make it hurt for the opposition and play the patient game, just wait for it, wait for those gaps to come, and they have come, even though she hasn't checked. She looks confident.
Yes, and let's catch up with Haile Gebrselassie, and you can see now that he has opened up a gap, and it's a good gap too. It looks as though he's on schedule for another sub 28-minute run. He's been around some time. I was just looking at his record. He's been under 28 minutes, 4 times so far, and this could well be the 5th in his career, which in 1994 was the first time he did it, and that was 27:34 in April 1994, and since then he's obviously become one of the greats, and he will always be remembered as one of the greats. And look at this, he's absolutely flowing now down this hill. It's a wonderful, wonderful demonstration of a man totally in command. His marathon career probably over in terms of major championships, but still the record that he holds and has held over the years will be admired for decades to come. He's an ambassador for his country. He really is one of those men that with 6 kilometers gone, 4 to go, that will be admired by all those from all nations, and in major championships all the distance runner looked up to him over the years. They certainly did.
What I find fabulous about Gebrselassie is he's still got that hunger to go out and train hard every day and to try and push for yet another Olympic team. Here's that battle between the marathon specialists, though, of course, Kebede and Abshero, and indeed Makau there, the world record holder for the marathon in the orange. Very, very tightly packed. That's a separate little battle, because I think Gebrselassie is well away.
Yeah, but that's actually changed, hasn't it? Because Abshero was well ahead of Kebede, and Kebede's come past him. Masai still well in control, of course, and I don't expect this to change. I really don't. She looks so relaxed, Tim, doesn't she? And total concentration. People often ask, what do you think about? It's a way you feel, the way you are, and you persist and you continue on that basis. You're deep in concentration, both of these top athletes.
Yes, Gebrselassie here is so used to working at this level. He's got great leg speed. Let's not forget that he's run a 1:46 800 metres in training, Haile Gebrselassie. He's held world records at 5,000 metres, 10,000 metres, 5 miles there in 21:58. That's the same as 8 kilometres. And Gebrselassie is well away. He's absolutely flying. It's going to go a long, long way under 28 minutes. And these ladies, well, they've run pretty quickly too. Linet Masai has run deceptively fast. I didn't think she was going to hit quick times, but 15:47 at halfway. And as she approaches the finish there with, 150, maybe a couple hundred metres to go, this has been a dominant run from the Kenyan. She hasn't led from start to finish. She really just sat in the pack, back in about 8th or 10th place for the first half. But then she just eased to the front and stretched away. A lot of stubborn resistance from the Italian there back in second place, Ejefini, who's all the while battled on. But look at the time for Linet Masai. That's the thing we've got to watch out for. It's going to be pretty quick. A Kenyan athlete has only won this race once before. Well, it's back in Kenyan hands now in Manchester. Vivian Cheriot 3 years ago. Now Linet Masai takes the Manchester title unofficially there. Masai in around 31:35, 31:36, there or thereabouts. And frankly, she looks like she could have kept going for a bit longer. Good running this from Ejafini, the Italian. Very, very strong running indeed. I'm sure that will be a personal best for her. She glances back to see behind her Dori Changewo coming through to third place. 31.52, I got to Ejafini out there. Changewo in third, of course, also has had a very, very good last year or so. And Purdue, well, the best of the Brits, coming through for fourth place. That's a fabulous extra line to the CV of the young Briton.
Well, Haile Gebrselassie, you've controlled this race, you've moved ahead of the field, a field which includes other marathon men of Kebede, Abshero, Makau, and of course Stephen Kiprotich, who really entered one marathon as a pacemaker and then ended up running, 2:7 in the end and finishing and not doing too badly. But this fella is class in every sense. He's won the title 4 times. This is going to be his 5th win. And he has another sub 28 minute time to his credit. Not going to be as quick as Kogo, not going to be as quick as his best, but nevertheless it is another very fine performance by Haile Gebrselassie. You can see the finishing tape in front of him now. How often have we seen this situation? How often have we been here before? How often have the crowd given the accolade to this great man here in the United Kingdom, both here in Manchester and of course way up in the northeast too, where he's appeared before, and his performances have been so enjoyed. And he really comes through as if he could run another half marathon on top of this, and quite frankly he could. It was a very, very fine run. Now let's see who's going to come in to take the places. A long way, and it's Kebede, I think. It's going to be very, very tight. Oh, look at this. Kebede gets second, and Abshero gets third. And those three way ahead of Kiprotich in fourth. Well, let's just update you with that. Haile Gebrselassie, 27.39, very, very good time. Look at that, Kebede under 28 as well, 27.56 ahead of Abshero. 3 Ethiopians, 1, 2 and 3.
Yeah, it's wonderful today. I'm so happy. Well, actually, I didn't expect, just to run that fast because of, I had a little bit doubt, yesterday because of the weather. But the weather today, as you see, fantastic, and the atmosphere as well. Oh, great day.
Well, ultimately, a dominant run from Linet Masai of Kenya, 31.35. Ejafini, a fine run under 32 minutes as well. And Tsegaye, 32.04. Charlotte Purdue, marvellous run there in fourth.
I'm in a good block of training at the moment, so yeah, I'm targeting to make the 10K team at the Olympic Games, so that's my main aim this season. So this was a really good stepping stone towards that.
Well, the story of the day, many, many successes from the 40,000 that took part, but for the elite Linet Masai of Kenya, Haile Gebrselassie of Ethiopia were dominant. Well, we're next up in the northeast, the Great North City Games, Bupa Great North Run, both in September. But in the meantime, keep your eye on the greatrun.org website. From us all here in Manchester, goodbye.